Dear learners, today we will be studying about the other aspects of the group functions and how to use the group by clause, the having clause, and after using them in the SQL query, what will be the results. Even we are going to study about nesting group functions and their outcomes after applying them in the SQL queries. I hope this will be a very good learning session for you all and an interactive session too. Therefore, please watch the full content and try to implement it, try to learn from my videos, and if you have any kind of queries, do mention in the comment box. I will definitely reply back to you. And please do like, share, subscribe my channel and comment about how have you liked this vlog and was this tutorial really useful for you. If any improvement is required, you are open and free to comment in my videos. I will definitely try to improve according to your requirement. So let's get started.
Select star from employees. If you check the commission PCT column here, this one, see, there are null values as well as there are values in the commission PCT column, correct? Now, when we are calculating the average, this null values has no relevance. Okay. So if we can write the query like this, select average, then we can give NVL and then commission underscore PCT comma 0, okay, from employees. Now here what is happening, when the null values are being replaced with 0 and then the average is being calculated, because average is calculated on numbers, right? Not on null values. Now what happens when we put NVL? I'll show you. See, when we are writing select star from employees without using any kind of aggregate group functions or without using any kind of NVL function, the commission PCT where there are no value in the commission PCT column, it is shown as null. Correct? And when there are, means where there are values in the commission PCT column, the values are being shown. Now, what happens when we use the NVL function? If we write like this, select NVL, then commission underscore PCT comma 0 from employees, then what happens? The commission PCT column where null was there, then that null value is replaced with 0. Correct? Because NVL function, what it does, it replaces the null values with the value which is being put after the comma under the NVL function. Correct? So the same thing is happening here when we are calculating the average of the commission PCT column from the employees table. Right? It is first replacing the null values of the commission PCT column with 0 and keeping the value where there is no null as it is and then calculating the average. Okay. Now we will be creating few groups of data. Now, what is this group of data? That is very, very important, right? So let us understand by an example. Now, suppose we want to find the average salary of all the employees department wise. I repeat once again, we want to find the average salary of all the employees department wise, right? So then what we should write? Select department ID, comma, AVG of salary from employees, group by department ID, right? See, then in department number 90, the average salary who works in department number 90, considering all those particular department employees, the average salary is 19,333.33 and so on. as per the respective departments. Now, as one of the value of the department ID is null, that I'll show you. Employees table, if I go to department ID, there is one null value. So that is the reason while the group by is being applied on the department ID of the employees table, that is department ID column of the employees table, when the group by function is being applied, that is the reason as one value of department ID is null in the table. So that's why here also the department ID is null. Now, always remember, when you are using an aggregate group by function, right, on any column, and along with that, you are using a normal column name in the select clause of the entire SQL query, that column name will always be used in the group by clause, because the average function will be applied on the salary column, but of which department? So that is the reason the department has to be grouped by, right? Now suppose you consider department number 90. So how many values are there for department 90? 1, 2, 3. 3 values. Now what happens when you apply this group by on department ID column of the employees table, that 90 department becomes 1, just like the distinct keyword, correct? There are 3 values with department ID 90, so that becomes the 90 department becomes only 1, that is Oracle considers 90 as only one department and performs the average of the 3 records, which means that it will take this record, this record, this record of department ID 90, and against this first row it will take the salary, the second row it will take the salary, the third row it will take the salary of 90 department, and then perform a average of these 3 salaries and give us the output, correct? That is the reason why department ID, instead of being physically present 3 times, okay, but when we are applying group by clause on the department ID, it is showing only 1, and average is being applied considering all the 3 values of the salary column against department ID 90. Same goes for 60. There are, I think there are 5 records, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, with 60 department ID. So it will consider all these 5 records of the 60 department ID, and it will show only one department as 60 and perform an average considering all these 5 values of department ID 60. Same goes on for rest of the departments also. Okay. Now a question might come that what if we don't put any group by clause on the department ID column, because the aggregate group function is applied on salary column, so we don't need a group by clause on the salary column because already an aggregate group function of average has been applied on the salary column. But if we don't give group by clause, or if we don't mention department ID in the group by clause, or if we don't totally if we delete the group by clause and we consider up till this, then what is the error that is going to show? If we write this and run the query, it is showing not a single group function, which means that whenever there will be an aggregate group function and there will be a normal column in the select clause of the table, so that column has to be present in the group by clause. I mean, group by clause has to be mentioned with that particular column. Okay. Now, next comes is, say, there is also another twist. Say we are writing select AVG of salary, okay, from employees grouped by department ID. This also is valid. In that case, department ID is not shown as a separate column. Here department, as we have mentioned department ID in the select clause of the employees table, That is why department ID column is shown in the query output. But here, as we didn't mention any department ID column in the select clause of the employees table, so only the salary, the average salary is being shown. But what is the problem of this query? You will not be able to understand that which average salary belongs to which department, as department ID column is not shown, because we didn't mention the department ID column in the select clause of the employees, right? So even if we don't mention, then also if the column is present in the table and we don't mention the column in the select clause apart from the group aggregate function, correct? So we can group mention that column in the group by clause of that query. So it's not mandatory that you have to mention the column name in the select clause only. Even if you don't mention, you can use that column name in the group by clause of the entire query. Okay. It will give the same output but without a separate column as department ID. Correct? Now, Now, grouping by more than one column. Okay, this is what we have grouped by only one column, right? By only department ID. But what if there will be scenarios where you have to group more than one column? What will happen? Let us see an example. Select department ID, comma. Then comes is job ID, comma. Okay. Then comes your sum of salary, okay, from employees. Now, what happens? As the sum aggregate group function is applied on the salary column of the employees table, and department ID and job ID column has been mentioned separately in the select clause of the employees table. So we have to use a group by clause, and we have to mention these two column names. Correct? So if we do that, we get the total salary department wise and job ID wise, right? For ad press job ID against department 90, the total salary is 24,000 for all the employees who belongs to ad press job ID in department 90. For all the employees who belongs to ad VP job ID of department 90, the total salary is 34,000 and so on, right? Now, so this is how we use multiple columns in the group by clause. Now, let us understand some illegal queries. I won't say illegal, basically some invalid queries in group by clauses. Select department ID, comma, count of last name from employees. Just we have written this, okay? But count is an aggregate group function, and department ID is a separate column which is mentioned in the select clause of the employees table, right? Now, we didn't mention any group by here, but what was the rule? That this column has to be in the group by clause, but we didn't mention it. Then the error will give not a single group function. But as soon as we mention the department ID in the group by clause, department ID, it gives you the desired output, right? How many employees are there in department ID 90, how many are there in 60, and so on. Okay. Now, another one part which comes up, that is as an example of the illegal queries using group functions. Now, select department ID, comma, average salary, comma, comes is your from employees. Sorry. from employees where AVG of salary is greater than 8,000, then group by what? Department ID. Correct? Because department ID is a separate column where aggregate group function is not applied, and that is being used in the select clause of the employees table. What is the error given? Group function not allowed. Remember one thing. When you are putting any restriction on the group function, right? You cannot do it via where clause, right? So as we have written like where ABG salary is the aggregate group function on the salary column of the employees table. Now after this average is being done, then based on that average, after the average has been done, then based on this average value which is being calculated, this condition is applied. So after the average gets calculated department wise from the employees table, then only those records, that is the only those average values, right, which are being greater than 8,000 will only be displayed or returned from the query. Correct? Now, if we rewrite the query, but with a very simple variation, that is, we copy this query and rewrite it. Then instead of where clause, we just put having the query runs, which means that the SQL query or Oracle will first get the department ID wise average salary. That is the first thing it will do. And then it will segregate only those average salaries which are greater than 8,000 and then give you the desired output as it is shown here. Right? So this is the difference between two group by function queries, invalid query and then the validated query. Okay. Now, next comes is excluding the group results with the having clause, just like I have shown. Now, let me give you another example of a having clause. Okay. Select department ID, comma, max of salary from employees, group by what will happen? Department ID having max of salary greater than 10,000. What will happen in this? It will first calculate department wise maximum salary from the employees table, and then it will filter out only those maximum salaries whose values are greater than 10,000, which means excluding 10,000 value also, because this is not greater than equal to, this is greater than. Correct? Now, same thing goes for the average salary. If we write like this, select department ID, department, comma, AVG of salary from employees, group by department ID, having max salary greater than 10,000. Okay. Now what happens? Now here we have used average as a aggregate group function, but while filtering out the data, we have used max. So what will happen? It will first find out the average salary department wise from the employees table. Then it will group those department wise average salary. And after that, it will also calculate department wise the maximum salary. And then only show those average salary department wise whose maximum salary value are greater than. So that's a very small thing. Now, the last part of the having clause. Select job ID, comma, we give sum of salary. Okay. Then from employees, where job ID not like REP, group by job ID, sorry, having sum of salary greater than 13,000, order by sum of salary. So what will this do? First, it will retrieve the job ID wise total salary, correct, from the employees table, and will only show those job IDs where REP word is there, as I have described or explained in my previous blog, just previous blog. Then it will group the total salary, that is the complete total salary job ID wise, and then it will filter out only those total salaries which is greater than the value of 13,000, and then it is going to sort the entire data according to the sum of the salaries job ID wise, and this result will be. So the last part that we have is nesting the group functions. How? Let me show you an example. Select max, then AVG, then salary from employees, group by department. Okay. What this will do? In nesting group functions, that see, max is a group function. Under max, there is another group function as average. So which means as the outer group function is max and there is an inner group function inside max group function, that is the reason why this is known as nesting group functions. Always remember, in nesting group functions, the inside group function executes first, then after execution whatever result is retrieved, based on that result the outer group function executes. In this case, first of all, from the employees table department wise the average salary is being retrieved, and then from that average salary the maximum average salary is being retrieved and the result is being given. So there will be only one result per group. Correct? Now, group functions can be nested to a depth of 2. That is, max is the first and average is the second one. Right? Can be nested to a depth of 2. Means max is the outer group function, average is the inner group function, and then after that you can give another nesting group function. That's it. Okay. So I hope that this video or this tutorial of group function will make you understand the concepts of group function and how to apply them in queries, and after applying them what will be the consequences of the queries. Correct? So try to follow this, try to practice it at home as much as you can, and today we have to end the video because the group function part has been completed. In the next blog we will be studying more about subqueries. what subquery is and how subqueries are being applied in a SQL query, and after application, what are the output of those SQL queries. Thank you very much.
And learners. I hope that this video will help you a lot to understand the concept of group by clauses and the group functions, as well as the nesting group functions and the having clause. We are going to come up with more concepts of SQL queries, with more concepts of how those will be applied on the SQL queries and their outcomes. In my next vlog, we will discuss more about subqueries, what are they, and how they are applied in a query, and what are the outcomes after applying subqueries in queries. Thank you once again for watching my vlog, and please do like, share, subscribe my channel, and comment for whatever doubts you are facing. I will definitely try to resolve your doubts. And don't forget to hit the bell icon. Good night and thank you.